And it takes time to really get to it, perhaps, but it's very powerful. Typically they only admit top 1 or 2 or 3. So go for number 1 and be honest, right? Like when you've had a nice meditation, a very pure mind, you can kind of see it and identify it fairly clearly. So go for the ringleader, go for the biggest demon that you have, right? Okay. Number 8, don't hope for any reward. Never hope for any reward. But you will get rewards, right? I mean, if you're practicing, if you're virtuous, you will get rewards, and it's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Commentary says you can hope for rewards and you get them. It's like, they come automatically. It's like you drop a pen and you drop something and it falls. It's gravity. Gravity is a law, just like karma is a law. You engage in virtue, good things happen to you, and it's fine, and it's good, right? Nothing wrong with that. So, and you should expect it. Expect wonderful things to happen, and they will happen. And the better you practice, the more wonderful things will happen to you, right? But if your motivation is that, if your motivation is the reward, then it's different, right? So one of the problems of practicing is that when we plant karmic seeds, it takes a while for them to ripen. So if I go engage in some virtue, and I feel like, listen, I have this with my wife all the time, and my wife has this with me all the time. You're a good person. Why aren't things happening to you? Why aren't better things happening to you? Right? You just did this good thing. Something good should happen. Right? Something bad happened. What's going on? Right? But it takes time. And so this is what they're talking about when they're talking about don't hope for rewards. It's like karma takes time to ripen. And if you're a spiritual practitioner, you'll have a lot of unpleasant things happen to you, just like anyone else. The difference being that you're collecting the causes for a better future, which will ripen and bring a result. But not the same day, not the same week probably. Very unusual, right?
And when bad things are happening to you, it's good because you're burning off your bad karma. You're getting rid of those seeds which could have ripened later. You don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it just takes time. So, I mean, it goes both ways. And you'd be like, you're burning negative karma, or you're using negative karma, and it'll wear out. I mean, prefer to collect virtue and have good things happen, but
From now on.
Either way, yeah.
That's wise.
So, they're simply pointing out, look, practice lojong, be a good person, and don't be dispirited if bad things happen. You could be a loving, kind person, and somebody could treat you quite poorly, or unpleasant, be abusive or whatever in the midst of you being a good person. Don't be dispirited by it. Understand the nature of karma and how karma seeds are planted and how karma ripens. And so they're really making a point of divorce your present actions from your present hope of results. And engage in virtue now and engage in goodness now, because you understand it's the right thing to do for the eternal future, and let go of any hope for immediate results. It's like, I want to be happier now. Yeah, I do want to be happier now. I want to have fewer problems now. Yeah, I do, but doesn't mean it's going to happen. All I can do is continue to collect goodness and engage in virtue with the understanding that it'll start to shift, and I don't know when. And we have to let go of the notion that I want it now. I want it now. I want to let go.
Can you talk a little bit about your process as you became familiar with trusting more the idea that you will have a result from your karmic action, as opposed to, no, I've been doing this goodness for this long and nothing good's happened. So you have that banter either internally or externally. Can you talk a little bit more about how you trust the process more without the evidence?
Well, I think you have to have some evidence. Personally, I speak theoretically and personally. I think anything we do based upon it being a good idea will only carry us so far. It's a good idea to try that. Let me try that. I mean, look, people live and die for their philosophy and their belief system, right? But you have to first buy into it. You have to find that level of comfort and acceptance and stability and certainty with your belief system to live and die for, which is very important. We can talk about it later. It's essential, in fact. But then how do you find that level of certainty, right? How do you have that level of buy-in? And I can only speak personally. For me, you know, I try a lot of things. I have tried a lot. I'm 50-something, you know, 51. And I've tried a lot of things in my life, you know. I mean, I travel around the world, you know, jump out of planes, go scuba diving, you know, climb volcanoes, you know, blah, 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 right? Let's go to the black sand beach, let's go to the red sand beach, let's go to the white sand beach, let's have a fast car, let's have a, you know, trip to wherever, let's, you know, on and on and on. And practical personal experience of what that is, right? Oh, let's make a couple $100,000 a year. Oh, let's not make any money. Oh, let's, you know, what's going to fulfill me? What's going to satisfy me? What's going to give me, personally, a sense of meaning and purpose in my life, right? I mean, it's me. It's my life, right? I have to do it for me, just as everyone does. And so, for me, it's been a life of experience in trying the alternatives. You know, I mean, it wasn't the red sand beach, it wasn't the black sand beach, it wasn't the volcano, it wasn't skydiving, it broke my ankle, you know. Scuba diving was pretty cool, but I still didn't quite do it, you know. And then it's trying other systems, you know. Oh, Christianity, oh, Hinduism, oh, yoga system. And somewhere along the way, you know, one finds something that makes sense and resonates. And my sister-in-law was in the military. She served in Afghanistan and Iraq and got blown up and shot up and was around a lot of dying people. And, you know, she said to me one day, she said, you know, I thought a lot about all of these religious systems. Can't prove any of them. You know, you can't find absolute proof of any of them. So in the end, it's a matter of picking the one that works for you to live by. So there's an element of that. I think there's wisdom in those words. But then I think even when one picks the one that one wants to live by, there needs to be some confirmation. There needs to be some internal confirmation, some internal affirmation. Like, you know, I chased around the world and tried all these different things, you know. And I saw what their value was for me. And so then I also pursued Buddhism and scriptural studies and Buddhist philosophical studies and meditation retreats and being around those who are holy beings to me and said, oh, I see what the value of this is. And I know what I get from this. And I know how this weighs against that. And which is more important to me. It's like another woohoo, which is a, you know, significantly diminishing return more important, or is some sort of deep inner thing more meaningful and more satisfying to me. So then, you know, that's in a broad sense, in a broad brushstroke sense. We might be a little late tonight, but hey, you asked. But then in a more specific sense, when you start talking about, oh, there's this one teaching, there's this one idea, that's what the Buddha said, you know, put it on the shelf. If it doesn't work for you, come back and check it later. You know, look into it, see if it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, you know, just set it aside and keep evaluating and keep examining. But you know, you say karma is this central tenet, right? So I think there are two things. And this is kind of a long-winded answer, but I think there are two things for me regarding karma. One is, irrespective of anything else, is that the kind of person I want to be? First, fundamental. Even if karma is not true, is that the kind of person I want to be? Well, for me, the answer is yes. So, you know, even setting aside, well, if I love somebody, if somebody loves me back someday, even setting that aside, like in the present moment, when I'm loving somebody, is that the kind of person I want to be? You know? And just to get a little more deep and philosophical, it's not something we normally talk about. However, based upon understanding that everything is a perceptual event, right? When I behave in a virtuous fashion, if I'm loving, he says, if I say a kind word to someone, right? If I act in a loving way towards someone, that originates inside of me, it arises from me, I project it onto the other person, and experience myself doing it. So I'm actually having an experience of creating, manifesting, and experiencing a positive thing. Love, kindness, etc. Do you need to know anything else? Is there anything else? Does anything else matter? Right? In that instant, I have created and experienced positivity. Do you want to be positive? Do you want to be negative? If you want to be positive, you just did it. Forget about the future. In the present moment, you just did it. So, you know what you see what I mean? So we don't normally address it on that level, and talk about it on that level, and then the other side of that coin is if I'm angry, then I am creating, filled with, experiencing, manifesting, projecting anger and negativity, both as inside me, coming out of me, projected and reflected back to me, and so I have a full internal and external experience of anger. So it's really kind of that simple, in a way, without even having to worry about what happens 3 lifetimes from now, you know? But I think, yeah, so I'll just leave it at that, because otherwise I can go on the wall. Can I answer your question?
Yeah, beautifully. Yeah, thank you. But you're welcome to go on. I would appreciate it.
Well, I'll take a survey here.
I'm creating positivity right now.
John, can I throw something in?
I'll stay. If you guys don't mind, I'm happy to, okay?
How about this like short version, like just ask yourself if you're happier now than you were
Sure, yeah.
a year ago or
Yeah.
a minute ago or 5 years ago.
That's the checking in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because why didn't you just do that 10 minutes ago? You said 10 minutes.
No, it was exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you.
I haven't seen the good parts yet, I don't think.
Good parts of what?
Karma, like in my current, like since I started practicing. But I've seen actions that I've done that are, I think, bad things come back to me tenfold. So like the type of thing, so like one of my first roommate I ever had, I used to leave dishes in the sink all the time, and now there's mountains of trash in my kitchen. And it's interesting now that I'm thinking of karma in that way. It's a very like obvious lesson for me. So that was my little thing.
Focus on the goodness in your heart, you know, and offering that from your heart. Right? Let's see. Stop eating poison food is number 9. So when you do a good deed and you finally get yourself to do something right, don't poison it with the attitude of looking out for number 1. It's like, oh, I actually let them go in front of me in the line at the, at the theater. Don't think like, ha, no, I'm going to get something. Right? That's, poisoning your good deed, right?
Easier said than done, though.
Yes, it is. That's why they're saying it. That's why it's written down here.
So do you have any advice for us who can't do that very well to help us to avoid self-congratulating?
The people. The commentary says that people recognize that the people around us are suffering. They're dying. They're miserable. They don't have enough money. They have major problems in their life. Thinking about committing suicide. People have all these issues in their lives. Just think about all these sufferings, and let me help them because they need it, not because I'm going to get something. Think about not how they're competing with me, but how they're suffering in so many ways, and offer something based upon that, based upon their real true suffering, and helping them feel the smallest little upliftment from that. Like even walking by someone on the street and is coming towards you and passing them and smiling at them and saying hello, people brighten up like that. I mean, you get like a little light bulb effect in a second, just from a hello on the street. It's just a little positive thing. It's not like I smiled at somebody and said hello and they lit up. It's not like, I mean, it is nice and it is good, but it's not a transactional exchange. It's the thing. Like that. So, all right, number 10. Let the streams flow smoothly. what is the stream? The stream of your mental afflictions, basically. So when mental afflictions are flowing, right? Resist. It's like water flowing through a stream over rocks, or up against a dam or something like that. It's turbulent, right? So whenever a mental affliction arises, it's not just like, oh, the anger's here, let her rip, It's just righteous anger. Let's just let it flow and do its work, right? Let me really blast them, right? So it's, when the afflictions arise, resist them. Make some efforts, So like that, don't be a pushover. Don't let it just come in an uninterrupted flow. I mean, if you have a bodhisattva vow that says if you have anger arise, you're not allowed to let it continue. If you took bodhisattva vows, you're breaking your vow if you don't try to resist, the anger whenever it's coming like that, I mean, then you have this thing called a klesha attack, right? It just the affliction arises, it fills the mind, it overpowers us, we lose control of our senses and our mind, and we just can't help it, right? So I mean, that's one of the qualities of being angry, right? When your mind is filled with it, it's almost impossible to do anything except be angry. It dominates all the other mental faculties, right? So Tsongkhapa says, as long as you put up a fight, you don't break the bodhisattva vow. So that's what they're saying here is, make an effort, put up a fight, struggle and resist. So, I mean, even if you can't stop it, just make whatever small effort you can to resist it, right? So let me slow down for a little while. The virtue of putting up a fight and resisting negativity is very powerful. It's a very special virtue. Karma is extremely powerful. Like every minute that you're struggling and resisting against negativity is very powerful virtuous karma. Even if you don't ultimately restrain yourself, right? So even if you know you can't restrain yourself, put up some kind of resistance or some kind of fight. Okay? Number 11, forget repaying criticism. So it's the standard 4 points of virtue that we have in our vows. Right? When somebody criticizes you, don't criticize them in return. Right? Don't respond in kind. Right? So basically, if somebody criticizes you, listen and try to think there's some kernel of truth there. And try to see if you can find some kernel of truth that might be useful. Right? Something like that. So, I mean, I know typically when people criticize me that they're wrong and I'm right. Right? 98% of the time, at least, right? But even so, still try to listen. Try not to get angry and listen, and see if there's something that can be useful in that, a little grain of truth, right? The 1% of the time. And then number 11 has the second part, which if someone actually does you physical or mental harm, then don't respond in time. Somebody yells at you, don't yell back, right? So, I mean, it's hard, right? Somebody physically pushes you or strikes you. It's hard not to respond similarly, right? So, but you have to stop the violence, right? You have to understand you're being hit because you hit someone in the past. It's the wheel of life. You have to break the cycle, break the chain of the wheel of life. And you have to understand the laws of karma that says if somebody's pushing me or getting in my face, it's because I did this in the past, all right? And if I do it again, I'm just going to create it for myself in the future. And I have to break the chain. I have to break the cycle. I have to not respond to karma. And it's very difficult, right? So, that tit-for-tat behavior is not advised. Okay. Okay. Then number 12. Give up laying ambushes. Right. One other thing to say is on number 11. The same goes true of virtues. Like let's say everything's going wonderfully, right? Like I just had a big score on the money. I got this great hairdo, life was wonderful, I got the shoes I always wanted, I had a great vacation, I'm beautiful, I'm healthy, everybody wants me, woo-hoo, top of the world. It's coming from the past, it's not coming from anything you did recently. It's past karma ripening, so don't get all worked up about it, and don't get all excited about it. I mean, be happy that you were virtuous in the past, and congratulate your past self, like, Jane, thank you very much. And I appreciate everything you did last life and I'm really enjoying it, But don't get all don't get all sort of ecstatic about the fact that the past you was virtuous, and that that you're riding on that. So same ending, right? Credit your past life. And the danger is someone who's very successful tends to then have some kind of pride or arrogance creep in, which then collects the wrong karma, right? So, and then that's the best way to prevent those things from continuing, isn't it? You're happy, you're beautiful, you're successful, then you get attitude, and then you undermine your karma, and you collect different karma, and it stops eventually. Okay. And then there's don't respond to scolding with scolding is another one of those. Practices virtue, 4 practices virtue. Number 12, give up laying ambushes. If someone hurts you, don't figure out how to get your revenge. It's like, all right, they stabbed me in the back at work. I'm going to make sure that they don't get that promotion. I'm going to make sure the boss sees next time they make a mistake. Right? I'm going to make sure that they don't look better than me. Right? I'm going to make sure that I look better than them, in fact. That's laying ambushes. Give up laying ambushes. Right? Number 13, no going for the jugular. So, same principle, but in a group. Somebody's offended you in some way, right? Wronged you on your bad side, and you're in front of everybody, and you have an opportunity to embarrass them and make them look bad in a group. They say something wrong, or they make a mistake, or you point out to the whole team that they screwed up, right? That would be against the rules here. Okay. Number 14. Load your own truck, no passing the buck. Ishikawa wrote that in 1200 AD? Probably not. That would be our Lotsawa, our translator's language. So I think the original, the literal text says, don't take a load off the girl yak and dump it on somebody else. So it's not very relevant. So anyway, the point here is that don't try to make yourself look good and others look bad. It's like, I did these things, and they, not so much, right? So take the blame for your own mistakes, right? And that's LOJONG behavior, right? My bad. It's at work. It's classic. The boss says, like, this screwed up. Why did this screw up? Who did this? And you're like, well, who's he going to blame? You could easily blame her or him. You probably would never know it was me, right? Maybe you just forget about it, right? So this is not this. This is say, yeah, that was my mistake. I did it. It's not anybody's fault but mine. Right? If you did, presumably you made a mistake, of course. So, if you try to help somebody, if you try to engage in some activity and it just fails, it's okay. Just own it, acknowledge it, right? And then be happy and take responsibility. It's not, admit it and go on, right? I tried to organize it, it didn't work. I tried to, execute on the plan, it didn't work. It's hard to do, especially at work, right? When you want to look good, and you think, oh, maybe they'll fire me, or maybe I won't get a promotion, or not LOJONG behavior. Right? And I'm like, yeah. But again, are we living in alignment with the laws of karma? Not. And the laws of karma say, knowing the truth can't be a source of suffering.
Well, you're not supposed to put yourself in a dangerous situation. Getting fired.
You have to work that out.
Yeah.
Okay. It's really the buck stops here, right? Real LOJONG behavior is every problem that's going to go to anybody else, I'll take it. And then maybe they'll fire me, right? Maybe they won't fire me. But you see, that's believing in karma, which is like, if I'm taking on everyone's suffering, can it produce a bad result? Not karmically. It's hard to live it, right? Because conventionally, if I take all the blame at work, they're going to fire my ass, Doesn't always happen. So, it's like Statue of Liberty, can you're tired, can you're poor, can you're hungry, I'll take care of it all. It's lojong behavior, right? So,
You don't want to necessarily like take the blame for someone else's mistake, right?
no, that's not what we're saying. If you've done something wrong, admit it publicly. If you haven't done something wrong, you say it publicly. You just say, this is what, you're talking about being honest. We're talking about that gray area where you could get away with it. And you could not take the blame when you should, right? That's what we're talking about. So, we have bodhisattva vows. If you've done anything wrong, own it. And if you haven't done anything wrong, you have to stop rumors about yourself. You have to say, no, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. I didn't make that mistake. I didn't engage in that behavior. That's also part of it. Not just saying, make up stories that every error in your business is yours. I guess you could if you want to get crazy lojong practitioner, but that's not really the point here. Okay, number 15, don't get fixed on speed. We're not talking about, crap. Right? So like, you're going out to dinner, and you're having this, you're sharing this lovely Chinese dinner on the platter, and there's only one dumpling, right? Who gets it? It's your favorite dumpling, Do you give it to yourself or do you give it to the other person, right? It's a hard one, right? With speed means trying to redirect things to yourself before others. That's what that code word refers to. So trying to get the dumpling for yourself instead of giving it to the other people in front of you, right? I want to make sure I'm in the front of the line because they're about to run out of my favorite thing on the counter up there. I want to get there before Hector does because he'll get the last waffle cone and I will. Okay.
It's interesting to see that one when we're all rushing to see His Holiness the Dalai Lama or something.
Right?
Like,
I gotta get to the front of the line.
in me, like I see it in me, it's like.
I can get the bit. It's not lojong behavior when you go to the 3 jewels and the Dharma teaching, and Holy Lama's there, and everybody's fighting for the front row. It's not lojong behavior. Sorry. So, the bodhisattva should be last. Should be offering the front seats to everybody else. And then this is where we go back to, don't criticize others. Okay, 16. Don't feed the wrong face. Our natural tendency is to take care of ourselves first, right, and others after us. And so, you can use lojong as an opportunity to make yourself feel good and to sort of boost your pride and your sense of esteem, your sense of like, I'm a cool spiritual practitioner. I let them go in front of me in the line and see His Holiness. They went first and I went last, and all that sort of thing. It's just, they're saying don't turn lojong into an opportunity to just act out of the mental afflictions. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to go help other people so that I can be hip, cool, proud. See people making a big show of carrying the Lama the tea in the middle of the teaching, interrupting the teaching, It's like, why are you looking at the teaching to carry a cup of tea up there? It's like there are all these opportunities, we have all these, especially in the Dharma environment, we have all these opportunities to turn, service into other possible afflictions. That's the point here. Dharma is not something to feed afflictions rather than starve them. So it's really saying, when they're saying don't feed the wrong face, they're saying don't use lojong to fuel afflictions, right? Use it to starve afflictions. Don't turn the sweet angel to the devil, number 17. Same concept, lojong being the sweet angel, taking care of other people first as a sweet angel. And then, you corrupt it and turn it into a demon by having the same old mental afflictions come up as you're doing the practice.
What you said, what number 17?
17, don't turn this sweet angel into a devil. Like, you could do lojong with mental afflictions. Like, this person is such a pain in the ass, and I can't believe I have to let him in line in front of me, and now I'm not going to get to see, I'm not going to have a good seat, and I'm not going to enjoy it. It's like ostensibly doing lojong, but generating afflictions, right? So that's the idea here. Yeah. 18, don't look for crap to make yourself happy. Okay. Probably not. Well, maybe it was Geshe-Chikawa's language. I don't know. Everyone derives a certain amount of pleasure from bad things happening to other people.
Mm.
Otherwise, Vanity Fair wouldn't sell. You know? I mean, every issue of Vanity Fair, there's like an article about the rich and famous taking a fall, you know, without fail, every issue. You know, and People magazine, oh, Brad and Angelina having marital problems. Buy this issue of People magazine. I mean, everyone has this thing on some level of, oh, let me find out what's wrong with them. You know, oh, it's so interesting. So, especially people who don't like, right? So, so anyway, so this sense of looking for problems with others, looking for unhappiness in others, you know, divorce, bankruptcy, loss, suffering, you know, don't get off on it, right? Don't take some kind of glee in it. It's a common human, it's such a common human trait that the Buddha made it one of the top 10 mental afflictions. Mm-hmm. So it's so common it's in the top 10. It's in the top 10 list. So those are the 18 pledges that we need to keep to develop a good heart. Okay? Now we're to the next one. You want a break now? Maybe a break now? Yeah, let's have a brief break now, and then we'll continue to zoom through tonight's class in reasonable amount of time.
Sure. Thank you.
My pleasure.